A few words just shattered the fragile alliance between the world's biggest democratic blocs. An US envoy was appointed, and his mandate wasn't subtle. The US needs to have Greenland. This is the new ugly American arrogance on full display. A public, unmasked attempt at an Arctic land grab from a sovereign NATO partner, Denmark. This isn't about a personal insult. This is about policy. The US isn't after the ice. They are after the incredible wealth buried beneath it. Greenland holds vast, unexploited reserves of critical minerals, the key to the global tech and defense industries. The US envoy's goal is to insert American strategic interests into the Arctic, bypassing Denmark's sovereign control. But this time, the US arrogance met a unified wall of resistance. The EU immediately fired back. Ursula von der Leyen, the head of the European Commission, issued a swift, powerful warning. The EU's full solidarity stands with Denmark and the people of Greenland, not the US. This is not a small movement. This is Europe drawing a geopolitical red line in the Arctic. Today we break down why Greenland is the new battleground for global power and how the EU's immediate full throttle defense changes everything for North Atlantic relations. In 3 sections. First, the policy. Second, the EU's red line with Denmark matters. And third, the Canadian interests, Arctic sovereignty. Let's get right into it. First, the policy. Forget about oil, forget about gas. The true price in Greenland that drives Trump's ugly arrogance is much smaller, but infinitively more critical. Rare earth minerals. Greenland is estimated to hold one of the world's largest untapped reserves of those minerals. Those aren't just industrial ingredients. They are the fundamental building blocks of the 21st century economy and modern military. From every electrical car battery to the guidance system in every advanced missile. The US sees this as a critical national security loophole. The urgency is simple. Currently, the Western world, including Europe and North America, is dangerously dependent on a single geopolitical rival for the processing of those vital minerals. This is a massive supply chain vulnerability that creates leverage for rivals and risks our defense and energy transaction plans. The US strategy via this envoy is a blunt attempt to force Greenland to choose their sides and secure their supply immediately. It is not an invitation, it's a demand to feed US military needs. But Greenland, along with its protector Denmark, operates on a sovereign policy platform that values local control, environmental standards, and long-term economic development. They are not interested in a quick, unregulated land grab. They want partners like the EU, who offers investment, technology transfer, and respect for their self-determination. The conflict at its heart is a clash of political philosophies. The US approach of strategic dominance versus the EU approach of cooperative, sustainable partnerships. This is the difference between extraction and autonomy. And it is why the EU's immediately policy defense of Denmark is so significant. Second, the EU's red line, why Denmark matters. Ursula von der Leyen's statement was not a polite diplomatic note. It was a clear geopolitical sign delivered with the speed of a crisis response. When the President of the European Commission says full solidarity, she is speaking for an economic bloc that is the largest in the world, not small change. This is the collective defense of sovereignty in action. It instantly takes the diplomatic heat of Copenhagen and distributes the pressure across 27 nations. This move establishes a non-negotiable principle. An aggressive move against a single EU member interests is treated as an aggression against the entire bloc's interests. The solidarity is not just moral support, it is economic weight. By backing Denmark, the EU essentially becomes the financial guarantor of Greenland's sovereign policy on critical minerals. Greenland gets to choose its partners, and the US loses its leverage. With the EU's full weight, Greenland can proceed with partners who respect their policy of sustainable extraction and domestic processing, not just the rapid, unfettered land grab the US is seeking. This is the EU demonstrating that its policy of partnership can effectively counter a foreign policy based on economic coercion. And this is the moment that validates my previous made superbloc thesis. The EU's defense of Denmark in the Arctic is a direct preview of a stronger North Atlantic autonomy in action. This is a powerful bloc prioritizing mutualism and sovereign control over a single nation's greedy dominance. For Canada, which shares the Arctic's geography and the threat of aggressive foreign policy with Europe, this EU response is the ultimate proof an aligned Europe is the most potential counterweight to ugly American arrogance and the essential partner for a truly sovereign future. This is what it looks like when European economic and diplomatic muscle stands up for a smaller ally. And third, the Canadian interest, Arctic sovereignty. This is where the Greenland crisis pivots directly to our Canadian national security. The US envoy's arrogance is not an isolated incident. It establishes a dangerous precedent. If the US can aggressively challenge Denmark's sovereignty over the resources of Greenland, what prevents them from applying that very same unilateral approach to Canada's undisputed claim over the Northwest Passage? It is the same policy philosophy, strategic dominance over allied partnership. This crisis should serve as a wake-up call that Canadian Arctic sovereignty must be defended, not just with words, but with integrated European-backed policies. This brings us back to the ultimate policy countermove, defense integration. My viewers' comments, your comments on the Superblock video made it clear. You understand the power of the Swedish Gripen. And why does it matter now? Because defending the Canadian Arctic requires more than just buying American hardware. It requires sovereign command and control. The Gripen represents a partnership with European industrial bases, allowing Canada greater domestic control over maintenance and software. This is crucial for operating in the harsh, isolated Arctic. By choosing European hardware, Canada sends also an unmistakable signal of a North Atlantic alignment, making the defense of the Arctic a shared priority, with a unified, self-sufficient bloc, not a logistical headache depending on a single arrogant foreign power. The Greenland crisis is a gift of clarity. It shows us that in the ugly face of the American arrogance, the only credible, proportional and immediate defense is the full solidarity of the European Union. This is our future. This is the path to Canadian sovereignty. But policies are not enacted by simply waiting. They need pressure. So, I want to hear your analysis. Given the EU's powerful words in defense of Denmark, what is the most critical piece of defense or resource policy Canada must adapt right now to formally align its Arctic strategy with Europe? Please let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want to keep tracking the rise of the North Atlantic axis, hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into geopolitical policy. Thanks for watching. I'm Wilfried Lemkuler from Europe Curious.